Go ahead and tell me the situation of what it is that happened with Frankie B.
Well, the thing with Frankie, he's old school. He would call himself an old school buster. He was from up north. And the thing with him is like when he was right there in Corcoran with us, he had a thing where he didn't like sureños that were black sureños. So he had a thing against black people. I remember on one particular instance, there was a camarada named Speedy from Palmas, from the Dream Homes, from Desert Empire, and he's been down. Speedy's been down since he's a D number, so he's been around, man. He's put in work for the cause. So I mean, I got to give it to him. He's one of the black homies that stuck around, man, and he was validated with us, and that says a lot, man. The guy was putting in work, and so with the thing with Speedy, like even to test him, they sent him on a mission on the group yard in the shoe, in the validated yard. He handled his business, but when the carnal Frankie B got there, he'd be like, hey, I don't want nobody setting up with, and because he's black, man. He's, and it's because that's the way he is. Like on his way out, Frankie was getting sent to all the, wherever he was going to parole, he was getting sent to all these ad saves, Wasco, Delano, Donovan, Chino, and a lot of people, I don't know if people remember those Chino riots that happened like in 05, 06. That's when Frankie B was about to parole. He landed there, and he's the one that kicked off all them guerras when the homies went at it with Chino, and they burned down Chino. All Chino got burned down, and that was because of Frankie B, because, Frankie was causing having the homies take off on the negros, and so he did that in Donovan as well. He did that in Tehachapi. That's his whole thing. So his whole situation with him, like, he's always been like a grumpy old man, and that's just who he is. So he knew he was on his way out at the birth, so it seemed like, to me, I don't know, I interpreted it, he was just causing all kinds of havoc throughout California before he knew he was going to be on his way out. But the thing with him, he was brought down when he paroled back in the early 90s. He got taken down to San Gabriel Valley, which is what we call San Gabriel Valley, and like the gangs like Puente, Azusa, Pomona, and all that area, Mount Clair, and so that whole Bassett, all that whole area. So he paroled down there, and with a Sureño named Danny Bug from Pomona 12th Street Sharp. Well, Danny Bug at the time, he brought him down. So when he brought him down to it, and he was living right there in Pomona with him, Danny Bug fucking up, because at the end of the day, you got Big Mike from Pomona who runs Pomona or the SGV. So, like I said, Danny Bug brought him over, and they were out there in L.A. Living right there in the San Gabriel Valley, and collecting and taxing everybody. And the whole thing with him is when he got arrested, there was an undercover cop pulling over, and Danny Bug ran up on his gabacho, drew down on him, and the cop flashed his badge at him. At the same time, you got the carnal Frankie B, and he kind of cracks his neck and gives him like the okay to shoot this white person, but they're not realizing that it's an undercover cop, so a bunch of cops swarm up against him, and they arrest him, and it turns out, like I said, they both get arrested for trying to, kill a cop. So at this time, they're in LA County, and they tell him, hey, Danny Bug tells him, hey, I'll take the rap for this case, just go ahead and tell on me. And of course, Frankie's like, all right, cool, because I'm going to be facing life. So when he gets on the stand, right before he gets on trial, the district attorney asks Frankie B, hey, it says here you're from the Mexican Mafia. And Frankie B goes like, oh, I was, but I dropped out in 1989, if I'm not mistaken. He said something like that in the transcripts. So by him saying that alone, the carnales were not upset that he testified against Danny Bug, because, Danny Bug gave him the okay, so there's no sense in two people doing life for one crime. And at the time, it's a carnal, so he's doing the brother a favor. But it's the fact that he admitted to being from the Mexican Mafia. Anytime you admit that the Mafia exists, even in as crazy, as contradicting as it sounds, because at the same time, the carnales got M on them, got hands on them, and there's no secret who they are. But at the end of the day, they're not allowed to admit it. They're never allowed to admit that the M exists. So when this happened, the paperwork came out, and we were right here in Corcoran, all the carnales that were housed in Corcoran, they delegated it, and then, it was decided that he had to go. So when, Palabra was sent to the streets, and that's when they shot him. They got him and the guy that was with him, but, a lot of people have different stories that he was that guy foreman. I mean, who knows? I've never heard of that. I'm only aware of like I said, the statement that was done and what was decided to do it and why, and yeah, that was a pretty crazy situation right there.
Was there anybody that was against that decision? Like, was there people actually advocating for him?
Actually, the crazy thing with that is, I remember Palabra came from the Bay, and the brothers came down from the Bay, and matter of fact, Chino did from San Diego. He shot word down to.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
He specifically shot word and asked them, why are you guys, the specific question was a bunch of questions to Artie from King Cobra. They shot word to Artie from King Cobra asking him why, they asked Artie like 3 questions. Why was he taxing Sureños? And the other one was, why is he implementing, why was he taxing Sureños? Why did he have, what's his name, Casper from Linwood hit? And the third question was, why did you guys have Frankie B killed? So evidently the Bay was not in agreement with Frankie being killed. So I mean, I'm assuming all the Bay contested it but it was too late. Like I said, the decision was already made in Corcoran, but the Bay, like I said, was asking questions about it, like maybe about a few months after. They did shoot word.
You said right now that he had sent word to him and he asked him 3 questions. What was the second question? You said
the Bay shot word. Yeah, the Bay
uh-huh.
shot word. Chino shot word to Artie. The first question was, why are you taxing Sureños? Because I already had a team in Corcoran where he was taxing Sureños for fighting, for dropping weed. If you get caught with a huila, you get taxed like $400. If you fight with your Chevy, $300. If you deal with negros, $300, and stuff like that. And the Bay was against it, and the Pelican Bay was against it. And at the same time, anyways, they asked him that, why are you taxing Sureños? And the second question was, why did you have Casper from Linwood stabbed?
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Artie had him stabbed, so the second question was, why did you have Casper from Linwood Duke stabbed? And the third one was regarding Frankie B, asking, why did you guys have Frankie B killed?
What was the situation with Casper?
Well, Casper from Linwood, he was working for Lalo from Lomas, from San Gabriel Valley. He was working for Choker from Hazard, and another carnal, Woody from Compton. So he was working for these brothers, and he was dealing with blacks in Centinela Sea Yard and 3B Corcoran. And he was caught dealing with blacks, so they already had him hit, and the carnales were against it.